Are you ready for your cooking lesson? It's Wednesday. You know what that means? It means it's Wednesday. It's another day of quarantine. However, we have a fabulous meal, and I am going to be making it for you. It is called chicken Puttanesca. Chicken Puttanesca basically is a sauce with tomatoes, anchovies, and olives. I know it sounds weird, but all together when it's made, it's fabulous. Now, here's the deal. I don't have the right kind of olives, and Mark doesn't like olives, so we're gonna skip the olives. Mark also doesn't like anchovies, but tough beans, because they're going into the sauce and he'll never know they're there. That was him doing a raspberry to me, just letting you know. The other thing is it calls for 28 ounces of crushed tomatoes. I don't have that. I had 36 ounces of peeled plum tomatoes. So you know what I did? I did this. I put them into the blender and I pulsed it so that I took those whole tomatoes and crushed them. So they're still kind of lumpy. It's not pureed all the way, but I just did what I had to do with what I had. You see, I didn't go running out to the grocery store unnecessarily. I'm using what I have. The other thing that it calls for is the olives, like I said, and I'm not going to be putting them in, but I do have artichoke hearts, and I'm just going to show you. These are just your basic marinated artichoke hearts that I got from good old Costco. And I like artichoke hearts because artichoke hearts are fabulous. You know, they're actually from the thistle plant. There's tons of fiber in there, and fiber is our friend. So I say yay to fiber. Now in the pan, I have olive oil and I have butter together. It's avocado oil. I use avocado oil for cooking because it has a higher smoke point, and I put a little bit of butter in there. And we're just gonna let that go ahead and heat up. And remember, when you are sauteing and you are cooking on the stovetop, you need to let whatever fat it is that you're cooking with get hot first before you add it in, before you add in your ingredients. It's really important. I also have an onion here. I'm going to add a little bit of capers in there because it's salty. I'm going to add a little bit of wine. That's probably about, I don't know, 1/4 cup. Maybe a little less now, but of wine. I already showed you, I did the show and tell on the anchovies, which are sitting here and waiting for me. I also have some crushed red pepper, salt and pepper, of course, and of course garlic. I mean, how can you not use garlic? So this is what I have. I'm going to start with an onion. Now, I've shown you a few times how to slice an onion and to do it quickly. This isn't exactly the way they do it in kitchens, but I do it my way because it's easy and it gets the job done, except when the skin won't come off. Here we go. Skin's gonna come off eventually. I will win this war eventually. This is fresh onions. You can tell. It just takes forever. Hey, wake up. I won. Okay, so what I do with this, and I keep a little garbage bowl here so that I just don't have to deal with everything. Remember, this is mise en place. You set everything up so that it's easy for you to just sit here and get it all done. And you're going to make your scores on the onion. Turn it over onto its side using a claw with the opposing hand. And then once it gets down there, you just go through and you do this elliptical chop chop. Okay, bring it back, put it together, turn it, and voila. How long did that take? Seconds. Just seconds for a whole entire onion. Isn't that amazing? And you can use your knife as a scraping tool. Just turn it over. And if you'll notice, I'm not using a paring knife or a carving knife. This is a Santoku, which is like a Japanese French knife. I also have other French knives. I've got a whole bunch of them. The point is, big knives mean less chance of you having any kind of an injury. It puts you more in control. So don't let that intimidate you. I know it's a change for sure, but it works, absolutely 100% works. And we're gonna go ahead and get that going. Get those onions going first thing, because they're going to need to cook down. I'm telling you, spring onions always are like this. They're stronger, the skin sticks to them, and they make me cry. Okay, so I'm gonna use my little garlic rocker again to get the garlic done. And I just let it collect up in the thingy. You know what I mean when I say the thingy, right? And there they are, the garlic worms. Aren't they so cute? Oops. And all the skin stays on the back. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put this in here, back into the little bowl. So now my garlic's all ready to go, to a degree. And it's a little bit all over the place too. That's how I roll. I'm a messy cook. And I'll admit it. Okay, done. Done, done, done. The next thing you want to do is get out your anchovies. Little fishies. Look. Okay, and give those a little chippity chop. Who's going to be the lucky one to get a nice big piece of anchovy in their teeth? And you're going to do the same thing with these artichoke hearts. Okay, just pull them on out, and we're just going to chop away. What did I do with them? I don't mind having, I love having things actually in my sauce. I like all the different flavors and textures. But when it's a great big huge chunk, that's no fun, because at that point, you're just like, that's gross. I don't like that. You know, all you taste is the big artichoke heart. So you want to make sure everything is chopped. Thank you very much. Okay. So the onions are starting to get a little translucent and a little brown. I've got them on a high heat. I'm going to move them to the side of the pan. You can take a look at that if you want to take a look at that. Everyone, take a look. Take a look, take a look, take a look. You see that? See what I've done? Isn't it cute? I've got salt and pepper on this chicken, and it's going in. These are chicken thighs, by the way. Question?
Artichokes, marinated?
Yes, I got marinated artichoke hearts. But if you don't have marinated artichoke hearts, use those, that's fine. Just use what you have. Put the things in. I mean, basically what we're doing with this particular recipe is we're using a lot of the things that I just went into my refrigerator just to take a look and see what I have. Now, olives would traditionally bring in the salt and the brine that you would have in this recipe. I don't have any of those types, the niçoise or the black olives or any of that. I have some big green olives, but they're just too much, and they're stuffed with garlic, cloves, and all of that. They're just not going to work. But capers will work. They're a nice stand-in. Capers are basically they're little berries from a bush, and they're salty, and they have a brine. So yeah, they're a good stand-in. You're going to want to cook this chicken about 4 minutes on either side. And as I'm doing this, you're going to see that I'm going to speed up the timeline, because I'm not going to sit here and wait 4 minutes while this gets done. But while it's in here, you're going to go ahead and add salt and pepper. Like so. I'm going to give it another minute. So what I have in here, I have some oregano and thyme. I have a teaspoon each of oregano and thyme. And in just a minute after we turn the chicken over on the other side and we brown it a little bit, I'm gonna pull it off and then I'm gonna finish it up with the sauce. And then you have two different ways that you can cook it. You can either pull the chicken and put it into a baking dish, finish the sauce, and then put the chicken with the sauce into a 375-degree oven and cook until, bake it until like 20 to 40 minutes, depending on how far along it's cooked. If you're using chicken thighs versus chicken breasts, if you have bone in or not, it really depends. You just have to check it out. I do not cover it. Let it cook down a little bit, and it makes it really nice. Or the other thing that you can do is you can cook it right here in your saute pan, right here in your skillet on top of the stovetop. We're going to go ahead and give this a turn. Now, mine right now is not as brown as I would like. You can see that I have an uneven thing, okay? And the onions right here, kind of mixing it up a little bit with the chicken. But like I said, I'm gonna give it just another couple of minutes, and then I'm gonna go ahead and do all the rest of it so you can see how the sauce is made. The sauce is the most important part. Of course, the chicken, like I said, you can cook this on your stovetop. You can cook it in the oven. You can even, if you wanted to, transfer this into an Instant Pot or into a crock pot. But it's important with the skillet. The reason that we're doing it with the skillet is to get the chicken browned. When you brown something, you're doing this, it's caramelization is what happens. It happens with vegetables, it happens with meat, chicken, poultry, even fish, where the sugar from the protein comes out and it kind of adds a little bit of what we call fond, F-O-N-D, to the bottom of the pan, which in turn helps you to make a very delicious sauce. And that's when you pull out your friend, the wire whisk, which I will use. I will just put it here. Okay, so now we're going to pretend that this is cooked on 4 minutes at least, either side, okay? You want it nice and browned. When it's browned, that's when the flavor component really kicks in. So we're going to go ahead and put this in a little baking dish here on the side. Obviously very undercooked, not ready to go at all. But we're doing this so we can get busy with our sauce. And right now to this, I want to get a little liquid going. You can see how nicely browned some of these onions are, and I'm mixing it up. So you can see right here, I'm going to show you. You see this brown here? That is fond. And I'm going to take a big scoop of bone broth, and I'm going to get that stuff up off the bottom of the pan because it adds dimension and flavor to the sauce. Now obviously, if you have a Teflon pan, you don't do this with a wire whisk, so you want to use something like a cast iron or a stainless skillet. Now do you see how the liquid is nice and browned? That is because of the fond that I just got all up off the bottom of the pan. Okay, to this, I am going to add the red wine. To this, I'm also going to add the artichoke hearts. I'm going to add the anchovies. You're welcome. Anchovies. Now, understand what this does. This is adding dimension. It's adding flavor. Everything is going in. Everything is going in. Including the garlic. Remember what I told you about garlic the other day? You never want to brown garlic. When you brown garlic, you ruin it. It ruins it and becomes it. I mean, you can let it get golden, but if it starts to get brown, you ruin the allicin in it. The allicin is the component, the active component in there that's an antibacterial, antiviral. You want that. Okay? We are also going to add, yes, question?
Dutch oven, okay?
Dutch oven will work perfect. Yeah. Gosh, this is just an act of God to get out. I'm adding some red chili flakes. This is probably a good half teaspoon into there. You can add more or less depending on your heat. You can even omit it completely if you don't like it. Wow. This is my spice that I just showed you, that the thyme and oregano. And now, excuse me, that was hot. In it goes. Can you get me some water? Excuse me. Oh my goodness. I inhaled red pepper. I honestly do not suggest you do that. Makes my eyes water. You know what? What the heck? We'll just add all of it. Excuse me. And so what I'm doing here is I'm putting a, excuse me, thank you. Between onion and red pepper. Well, it's good to know that this is fresh. My goodness. I'm putting the lid on it, so I'm going to let it come to a boil. When the whole thing has come to a boil, then I'm going to take the lid off and I'm going to stir it occasionally, put it down to a simmer. And what I want to do is let that reduce to about 1/3 off so that it has an opportunity to really come into its own. This is how you reduce, when you reduce the liquid, you concentrate the flavor. And that's exactly what we're doing. Once the sauce is ready to go, then I can either, like for me, what I can do for this, which is a good idea, is put my chicken back in here to cook. Or I can just go ahead and I can allow the sauce to reduce and then pour, like I showed you before. 2 different ways to do it. So at this point too, the other thing is once you get it in there, go ahead and turn it over so that you get all sides coated. And like I said, put the top on so it has an opportunity to simmer and come to a heat, and then, away you go. And that is how you make chicken puttanesca with what you have. Now this can be served with pasta, this can be served with rice, you can do it low carb version and just serve it with a nice big green vegetable. Either way, I would strongly suggest a salad, and don't forget, you're gonna wanna mop that sauce up because it is gonna be absolutely delicious. And tomorrow, it'll be even better. If you have leftover sauce, you probably will, and if you have leftover sauce, don't let that go to waste. Put it in a little Tupperware thing or a little plastic bag, stick it in the freezer, and use it in a soup at some point, because all those little odds and ends add dimension and flavor and just brighten up what might be somewhat of a bland soup otherwise. Okay? That's it. I hope you enjoyed that. And if you want more recipes like this, I've got a ton of them. If you'd like to become a supporter of Saving Dinner, and that's what we're doing rather than doing Patreon or any of those other things, we're asking you to go subscribe and become a member of our Dinner Answers Software Club, basically. And what this is, every Tuesday, we put out menus, recipes, and shopping lists in whatever style you eat. Vegan, vegetarian, paleo, low carb, keto, AIP even, autoimmune paleo, whatever it is, or just classic family. If you eat food, we have the answer for you. And you can edit this, you can make it exactly custom, however your family will eat. No judgment, you choose. It's $7 a month. It's never been this low. We're calling it pandemic pricing. So if you'd love to support Saving Dinner, we'd love to have you aboard. And we will thank you for your support by every week sending you a brand new menu. Yes?
How long if you put it in the oven?
If you put it in the oven until it's cooked. It's going to depend on what you're cooking. If you have a great big chicken breast, it's going to take longer. If you have a small chicken thigh and there's no bone in it, it's not going to take as long. So we're looking at anywhere between 20 and 40 minutes, like I mentioned before. Like I said, you want to saute on each side for 4 minutes. Okay? Yes.
Can you print out the weekly list?
Yes, absolutely. The weekly list, you can print out your weekly menu. You can print out your recipes, you can print out your shopping list. You can even forward your shopping list to your spouse and have him do the shopping. That is amazing. So that's what it's all about. So to become a supporter of Saving Dinner, just go to savingdinner.com and there you are. It's right there on our front page and you can find out all about it and see everything that we have. And we have to say, we really appreciate all of our support and everybody coming alongside Saving Dinner. We've been in business for 19 years and we're going to keep going. So thanks so much for supporting us and we really appreciate you and love you. You'll see me tomorrow at 1 o'clock here, not here, in my office, tomorrow at 1, and then again here tomorrow for dinner for 4 o'clock. Peace out. Thanks, guys.